Hello. In this video, I am going to discuss with you about the journal entries in the books of lessee. So, lessee in the sense he may be a publisher or a licensee or a tenant or simply the user of an asset. So, here whatever journal entries are there, so these journal entries are broadly classified in two categories. First category is when actual royalty is less than minimum rent and when actual royalty is more than minimum rent. So, in first case, there are two possibilities. The first one is if minimum rent account is not maintained, or simply we can call it as first method, or if minimum rent account is maintained, or we can call it as second method. Okay, so don't get confused. It is just a simple chart to simplify the concept. So, first I will discuss the journal entries in case A, then first method, second method, and then case B. So, let us begin our discussion. Okay. So, as I told you, this is when actual royalty is less than minimum rent, and if minimum rent account is not maintained, or this is called as first method. So, there are total 5 journal entries are there in this case. Okay. So, the first one is when royalty earned. Okay. So, this is the first journal entry, royalty account debit with actual royalty, short workings account debit with shortage amount, or we may call it as deficit amount, to landlord account it is credited with minimum rent. Second entry is when payment is made to landlord account is debited, to cash or bank account is credited. Number 3, for transfer of royalty at the end of the year, trading account or profit and loss account debit to royalty account. Number 4, that is fourth journal entry, for recovery of short workings, landlord account debit to short workings account credit. And the last entry here over is fifth, that is fifth entry, for irrecoverable short workings, profit and loss account debit to short workings account. Okay. So, here total 5 entries are there. So, these entries are when recorded when actual royalty is less than minimum rent. And how to identify whether actual royalty is less than minimum rent or more? So, at the starting we are preparing royalty chart now. So, in that chart year wise we have to record these journal entries. So, in the first year we have to see whether actual royalty is more or minimum rent is more. So, when actual royalty is more, then these are the 5 journal entries. And one more important thing, in next cases also just 1 or 2 entries will be changed. Okay, later this entry number 2, 3, 4, 5 will continue as it is. Okay, so let us see that one. So, second one is if minimum rent account is maintained, or this is called as second method. Okay. So, here see entry number 2, 3, 4, 5, earlier entries number 2, 3, 4, 5 will continue here as it is. Only in case of entry number 1, that is in case of this entry number 1, there are 2 entries will appear. Okay. So, which are those 2 entries? When minimum rent account is opened, minimum rent account debit to landlord account, and entry number 2, when the minimum rent account is closed, royalty account debit, short workings account debit to minimum rent account. Okay. Now, next 4 entries, the earlier entry number 2, 3, 4, 5 will continue here as it is. Which are those entry number 2, 3, 4, 5? So, see in the first case whatever entries we saw na here. So, this entry number 2, entry number 3, entry number 4, entry number 5. These 4 entries will continue as it is. There will not be any changes. Okay. Now, third one, that is Number B, when actual royalty is more than minimum rent. Okay, how to ascertain whether actual royalty is more or minimum rent is more? In the first step, we prepare that royalty chart. In that we can ascertain it easily. Okay, so in place of here also, entry number 2, 3, 4, 5 will continue as it is. Just in place of entry number 1, here one slight change is there. When royalty earned, royalty account debit to landlord account. Okay, so this is the first entry, and entry number 2, 3, 4, 5, that is earlier entries. So these will continue here. Okay, so which are those earlier entries? As already I have told you, these are the entry number 2, 3, 4, 5. These will continue here as it is. So only in place of this first entry, this short workings will be removed. Okay, so royalty account to landlord account, and these all entries will, entry number 2, 3, 4, 5 will continue here as it is. Okay, so just to summarize these all aspects, so let me just briefly summarize these things. So see, when actual royalty is less than minimum rent, there are how many journal entries are there? There are total 5 journal entries are there. In case A, sorry, in case number 1, if minimum rent account is not maintained, or in first method, how many journal entries are there? There are total 5 journal entries are there. And if minimum rent account is not maintained, there are, in place of entry number 1, 2 entries will take place, and entry number 2, 3, 4, 5 will continue here. And when actual royalty is more than minimum rent, in place of entry number 1, one slight change is there. Apart from that, entry number 2, 3, 4, 5 will continue as it is. Now, don't get bothered about these all chart and these all journal entries. These are very simple journal entries. In initial stage, just you have to go through the format, whatever I have just told you, and later on you will easily remember these all things. And apart from this, when I am discussing about the problems, I will give you a shortcut method. That is the simple technique. Okay, don't bother about these journal entries, just remember these journal entries. Thank you.